Okay. Well, since there's no questions, we'll get started with the book. So the first chapter, chapter 1, is the beginning. So you guys don't necessarily need to buy the book if you don't want to. Like I said, I'll be reading the chapter for you. The chapter is about like 5 pages long, and then in between, we'll just talk about it and things like that. Um, if you guys see my little light here, just because I'm a little blind. So yeah. Okay. But like I said, before we get started, we're gonna do some box breathing. Um, 1 second. I think I lost my bookmark. Yeah, okay. Okay. So just get into a comfortable position. And if you want to close your eyes, you can, but you don't have to. And this is just gonna be like a quick little like 2 to 5 minute um grounding meditation. So like I said, close your eyes if you want to and breathe in 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 2, 3, 4. Breathe in 2, 3, 4. And then breathe out 2, 3, 4. Breathe in 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 2, 3. You just relax your body. Notice your breath. Maybe the air touching your skin. And maybe whisper to your body, are you safe? Are you grounded? I'm here. Now we're just going to focus on our breath again. And we're going to breathe in 2, 3, 4. And breathe out 2, 3, 4. Great. That was great. We're going to get started on the book now. Now I've never read this book, but I saw a bunch of reviews and I watched a bunch of reviews, and from the reviews, I thought it would be the perfect book to do. Like I said, because it has journaling prompts in it. Um, so yeah, let's get started. Chapter 1, on the beginning. Not long ago, I was invited to a conference billed as a gathering of 50 of the world's most innovative thinkers. Each day, there were lectures by everyone from leading scientists and tech CEOs to pioneering artists and actors and Arctic explorers. Afterward, we'd meet up in breakout sessions to discuss and debate the implications of their ideas. In these smaller groups, people would often start the conversation by identifying their field, then asking, "And what do you do?" Is that also human need to categorize, to sort by type, but as a writer, I've always come to dread answering the question. I know the follow-up will be, what kind of writing? Much of my work has lived in the realm of memoir, which is often categorized, unfairly I believe, as navel-gazing and lacking rigor, especially when the artist is a young woman. In certain company, I sometimes feel tempted to beef it up, to make it sound more serious, rather than saying, I write a column about being a young adult with cancer. I find myself saying, I used to write for the New York Times science section. I can confidently say I feel like we've all been there where we're meeting someone for the first time or um, meeting up with someone that we haven't seen in a long time and they ask us what we do or what we've been up to, and then we feel tempted to tell them more things. Or like she said, beef up the things that we've been up to or been doing now. And what I learned is you just have to be authentic to yourself and your experience. If you haven't been doing anything because you just haven't been in the mental space to do it, that's totally fine. And you should feel good enough to say that, right? Because in a way, you're taking care of yourself and you're taking care of your body. So there's nothing to be ashamed of, in my opinion. But let's keep reading. So imagine my inner panic when in the middle of this group of intellectuals, big business stations, and Nobel winning scientists, I was asked a writer, huh? So what is it that you're writing now? I was working on this book, The Delusions of a Practice That Saved My Life. A book about journaling, I replied. I watched an answer fall flat, just as I feared. In a knee jerk way, I felt I needed to justify it, to explain it. Through journaling, it's sometimes dismissed as a childish pastime you do in a pretty diary with a tiny book. Its physical and mental benefits have been extolled in study after study. Everything from reducing symptoms of depression and anxiety to improving working memory and strengthening the immune system. It's something everyone could benefit from, I wanted to shout. Maybe especially you. Honestly, that's the reason why I started this journaling club because journaling has helped me so much in my personal life. And do feel like what she said, depression and anxiety, journaling can help with that because I don't know if you guys are familiar with the morning pages, which I think she's going to go into because I flipped through the chapter. um, but in doing morning pages, it really just gets everything out of your brain and just makes it clear for the day. And then also with like journaling prompts, I feel like it helps you not maybe navigate or get deeper into things that you had never thought about before or bring up feelings that you have never thought about before for you to then navigate through them. Which is why I always try and end every single prompt with, well, I try to end every single um, post with journaling prompts or an activity. That way I can give you guys something tangible to walk away with or think more deeply about that you had never thought about or gotten into before. But yeah, facts to the book. I didn't say that. Instead, I quickly changed the subject back to them and their pursuits. I have always thought of journaling as serious. It has had a serious applications in my life, but I've never been good at one sentence pitch. If I could go back and explain why I feel called to share my particular approach to journaling, I would say this. I do this work because I know it works and it is necessary. That's what I say. I started this journaling club, this company, because it is a company, community, because I know it works. I did it on myself. I know it works. I've told it to other people and they said it works. And I was like, okay, that's something that I want to give to everybody. Because I'm not just journaling, I'm blending three different things into one, like I always say, an artist of alchemy. Because I'm taking a bunch of trauma in my life, a bunch of um, things that I've learned along the way from a bunch of different therapeutic modalities, and I'm putting it into one framework for you guys. And it works. The studies may be useful to sway the skeptics, but they're just confirmation of what I already knew on a soul level. This is not just true for my own life. I have heard from more people that I can count testify to how transformative this practice has been. A 50-year-old woman who was stuck in a soul sucking corporate job used these tools to realize her lifelong dream of becoming a writer. Her journal entries turned into prize winning essays, where she wrote a memoir, got an agent, and quit her day job. A mother reeling from loss of her daughter began making art from these prompts, which allowed her to feel connected to her daughter and begin to process her grief. An oncologist who saw the health benefits of this approach to journaling had literally prescribed these prompts to over 100 patients. I could fill pages of pages with stories like these. Journaling as a process is utterly alchemizing. Like I said, arts of alchemy, with practical applications in every area of one's life and work. The journal is the chrysalis, the container of your goopiest, most unformed self. It's a rare space in this age of the hyper curated personas, where you can share your most unrated thoughts, where you can sort through the raw material of your life day by day, page by page. You can uncover the answers that are already inside of you, and you can begin to transform. And honestly, if you do these prompts and you feel like nothing is coming to you, or because we're going to be doing this for the entire fall and winter, which I hope it doesn't get too repetitive for you guys, but if you feel like it's not working, sometimes it's just not the time or space for it. And like I said, all of these are going to be saved and you can just come back to it, right? Because I always feel like sometimes there's something that I really, really want to do. And maybe at the time when I'm doing it, it's not really working. But sometimes it's just not working for that time. And then when I come back to it months or a year later, it's the perfect time and it works. So just saying that's safe. It doesn't work for you right now. Come back to it. Okay. As long as as long as there has been literacy, people have turned it into a catalog every day, which is the word ep- etymology makes clear. It comes from the old French word journal, which has its roots in Latin journalis, meaning of the day. If you trace the origin of the word diary, it's the same. The oldest journals we know were for record keeping, like the Diary of Mer and the ancient Egyptians' papyrus logbook that recorded the transport of limestone to Giza, where it was used as cladding for pyramids. Over the years, the form evolved from simple cataloging to include much more. Everything from Mark Antony's private musings turned guide to life, meditations to pillow books of the women of the Japanese court around AD 1000, so named because they hid the diaries beneath their pillows. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Which detailed their public lives as well as fantasies and fictional tales, to the scientific notebooks of Leonardo da Vinci and Charles Darwin. The 20th century, we got Anise Nin. Oh, which I have one of her books about her diary. Very interesting. Which I guess goes into the journaling, right? Most intimate thoughts about her sexual and political awakenings, and Virginia Woolf's journaling about her reading and writing life. We get diaries of individuals grappling with the private lives against the backdrop of repressive um, regimens like Alice Dunbar Nelson, who gives us an unadulterated look into life and the early of 20th century women of color in America, and Anne Frank, who famously documented her experience as a young Jewish girl hiding in Nazi persecution. Journals have become important historical artifacts, giving us glimpses into the past and providing insight into what our fellow humans lived through. But it is illness or war or some other crisis and how they managed to endure. As Anise Nin wrote, when we go deeply into the personal, we go beyond the personal. We achieve something that is collective. Mm. The journal is captious. It can be an aid to memory, a relinquishing of major life events, a place to let off the steam, rattle off lists of to dos and to don'ts and dreams, and conjure something beautiful and wild and unexpected. It's where we can go to cut through the noise, where we can take stock and discover meaning, where we tap into our subconscious and our free flowing stream of intuition. The journal is where we seek and find our highest, most liberated, creative self. But whether you're a long-term journaler or new to the practice, you've likely experienced that moment when you beheld the blank page and are stricken with the question, how do I begin? And okay, we're going to begin here. For me, it starts with the journal itself. Whether it's a classic composition notebook from the drugstore or a leather bounded beauty, I always personalize it in some way. I adorn the cover to write myself a creative contract on a flyleaf or tuck my favorite old photograph into opening pages, anything that amplifies its appeal, encourage to me, and return. I also keep handy a stock of my favorite pens. The physical, tactile nature of journaling by hand is important to me. I love the interaction between paper and palm, how the pen glides across the page, how the letters emerge as images, swooping up, looping back, charging forward. There is a state of mind which is not accessible by thinking, writes Linda Berry in her creative workbook and graphic memoir, What Is It? It seems to require participation with something physical we move like a pen, like a pencil, something which is in motion, ordinarily motion, like writing the alphabet. Virginia Woolf also extols the joy of writing by hand. After spending many months revisiting a manuscript on a typewriter, she returned to pen and paper. And in her journal, she wrote, "How should I like to write a sentence again? How delightful it is to free-form curve under my fingers." That makes me think of this Erykah Badu quote that I came across years ago, and it really helps me with my journaling style, which I'll tell you guys really quickly before we get back into the reading. Um, she says, I think it was more so about meditation because I can't remember it exactly, but I know that she says that the key to like manifestation or scripting or whatever journaling is writing it down, and that makes it more true and more tangible. And ever since then, I really got into writing in a journal again because as I was a kid, I was always journaling. And then I moved it to my phone. And then after I heard that about Erykah Badu, who has one of my favorite albums, by the way, then I moved it back into journaling, which this is my journal here. It says journal, but I think you guys can't see it. And it really does make a difference, like journaling on a journal and not on a computer or on your phone. And for me personally, how I like to start my journaling is that I'll start with gratitude. So I'll thank the universe and I'll list all the things that I'm thankful for. But if you know from our gratitude posts, writing things down, your gratitude is really, really good. But sometimes it's better to hear it. So I'll write it down and then I'll read it back to myself. And then I'll go on writing whatever it is that I need to journal or write about or get off my chest. And then I'll always end it with some kind of like scripting or spells or enchantments. So for me personally, I'm always working on my self love. So I always end it with like, "I love you, Ashanti," and some positive things about myself. And then I'll go into like affirmations. The never says no. It's always looking out for you, like those kind of things. So then I have a whole page here of like spells and enchantments where I can like pull from to end at the end of my journaling. Um, and yeah, if you guys ever want any, let me know, and then maybe I can make like a post of all of the like affirmation kind of enchantments that I have in my journal. One second, I think I lost the page. Yapping. And sorry if I sound a little bit nasally. I think I'm getting sick. Okay, where were we? Okay. And yet sometimes the resistance oh, no. Often when I get to the page, several self-sabotaging thoughts rear its head. I have nothing to say. I don't feel inspired to write one word, much less fill 3 pages. And I'm never going to be able to do this consistently, so what's the point? I've concocted a number of tricks for pulling my mind out of these ruts. One of my favorites I shared on, excuse me, one of my favorites was shared with me by poet Marie Howie. Whenever I can do the practice, I'll get a composition notebook and I'll write 3 pages a day. But I write with my non dominant hand, so it's big and I scrawl. Or I'll write, I don't know what to write about, and then just write into that so there's nothing to but to release it. Yeah, when you're doing the morning pages, like if you guys choose to do that, or if you're just journaling every day, if you have nothing to say, literally just write, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. And then eventually, because I've done this before, and then eventually you'll think of something to say and then just write that. And yeah, sometimes the resistance is deeper. Once in a journaling workshop I was teaching, a participant asked me, any advice for someone who can't journal without feeling cringy? I think it has something to do with the fact that my mother used to read my journals growing up. Oh no. And nothing was private. Now I feel like I can't put anything personal to paper. I was grateful for her question, understanding that others were likely to carry similar baggage. What was the point? The other attendees we came up with what was the with the input of the other attendees, we came up with several tips for breaking through resistance. Okay. Number 1, tell yourself you can burn it afterward. Number 2, try writing in the second or third person to distance yourself from your inner censor. Number 3, write in lists or in sentence fragments so it feels more like jotting thoughts down instead of journaling. 4, maybe call it an unjournal, loosen the rules, and claim it in your own way. Number 5, when stuck in the past events, tell yourself that was then, this is now, and then right now, and write it into that. 6, store your journal in a lockbox, safe from prying eyes. I actually think I might do this because I kind of struggle with not necessarily people reading my journals, but just like writing my actual thoughts down because it just seems so private to me. And then lastly, number 7, may I suggest that you write directly to your mother? I've also tried this. My therapist some years ago made me write a letter to my mom. Um, and actually, I felt better. So if anybody is struggling with any kind of mother wounds, write a letter. Did it heal all my wounds? No. But did I feel better? Yes. The last suggestion may or may not have been a joke, but it brings to the mind an exercise that the singer Stacey Johnson shared with me a few years ago as a way to silence those critical voices. And it goes like this. Close your eyes and imagine the last time you tried to create. Who appeared? What did you hear? Maybe it was a critical parent, a competitive classmate, a teacher's thoughtless remarks, or a line from a rejection letter. Maybe it was the voice of an unknown origin that you hear on a loop. It's too late. You're not good enough. You'll never get there. Write an eviction notice to whoever or whatever hinders your creative joy. Name them. Call them on their bull. Firmly usher them out the door. Another common challenge is developing consistency. There are a few different things I found helpful for building what my friend Lisa calls a sticky practice. You fold your journaling into a non-negotiable part of your existing routine. You build for some kind of accountability and then you lower your barrier to entry. I think personally, like I've told you guys in my routine versus ritual post, I feel like journaling and reading and just doing a light meditation are the 3 non-negotiables that everyone should do every single day because I struggle with depression, like, really bad, and when I'm doing those every single day, I can definitely tell the difference as to, like, when my depression feels, like, really, really heavy and when it feels way lighter to the point where, I'm like, "Ooh, am I even depressed?" Right? And it's literally just clearing your mind, stilling your mind, which journaling clears your mind, reading stills your mind, and then meditation, I feel like, just, like, calms your mind, like, all 3, all 2 together. Okay. Try to sit down at a roughly the same time each day, ideally alongside a favorite habit. For me, journaling revolves around my first cup of coffee. I wake up, let the dogs out, then head straight to the kitchen to grind the beans and turn on the kettle. For the first 5 minutes it takes for the French press to steep, I write a short passage and let the words wash over me. Then I sit down at the kitchen table with my journal and start. Maybe for you, this happens when the house is quiet and your children are asleep. Maybe it's your own subway commute or in a parking lot before you step into the office, I found 15 minutes to be the golden increment of time I need to write before the fall gets anywhere unexpected or interesting. But if all you can spare is 5 minutes, that's more than enough. Okay. When I embarked on my first 100-day project, I lowered the barrier for entry by making 3 firm rules to myself. Number 1, write every day. Number 2, aim for 3 pages, but any amount will do. A paragraph, a sentence, or a word. Just gonna grab a sip of my tea, guys, because my throat's getting a little dry. And then number 3, let your thoughts unpool, going in any direction they want. And once you're done, you never have to look at them again. However you approach journaling, at whatever time and in whichever form, there is no right or wrong way to do it. But the lowering the stakes of less precocious the process, the more likely you are to return to it. This is not polished. I'm not penning an obvious writing. You do not need any prior experience. Just let the words pour from your pen, without restraint, without goal, without self-censoring, without editing or concerning for grammar or punctuation. If a particular prompt doesn't speak to you, maybe write about why, or let your words take you a completely different direction. This writing is for you. Tailor it to suit your needs. Not long ago, I had a chance to interview Michael Burett, and the designer who formalized the 100-day project as an assignment for his graduate students at Yale. We spoke about how he came up with the idea and the many incredible projects that emerged from it. Excuse me. One story he shared was a young woman whose project was putting 100 paint chips cards into a box, then fishing one out every day and writing something that about that color, something poetic, or something quick and dismissive, something just a single word, sometimes a long essay. Michael liked a lot of things about her project, including the fact that it had a perfect combination of constraint and variability built into it. It also invited consistency because as soon as she dipped her hand into the box, she was committing to one more day. But what he liked the most was how it was microcosm of the human experience. Sorry, guys. Which is full of uncertainty marked by chance, coincidence, and happenstance. When she pulled the paint swatch from the box, she did not get a color that she hoped for. Did she feel elated or think, oh, today I have to write about this bright yellow? Or was she disappointed to find herself holding a money gray? If you take it to another level, life is like that, Michael told me. Sometimes it's the thing that you were hoping for. Sometimes it's the thing that you were dreading. And your ability to react to it as a human in an authentic way is how we survive. I don't believe going through something hard makes us wiser or stronger or braver by default. Me either. But the transitional moments in our lives offer the possibility for new beginnings. May these first 10 essays and prompts welcome you into the living practice experience. May they spark something new and beautiful and true, and let your pen fly and your curiosity and intuition. And that's the end of chapter 1. Chapter 1 doesn't end with any prompts. I'm just gonna check the time. Does anybody know what time it is? Just want to make sure that we're uh moving good on time. But I think it'll be good for us to do the prompts that were from Stacy Johnson. Since this first one doesn't have any prompts. Okay. So if you're feeling a little critical, we're gonna do these prompts. I'm just gonna grab my journal and my pen, which I feel like I lost maybe. Okay. So prompt number 1 is close your eyes and imagine the last time you tried to create. Who appeared? What did you hear? So, journal question is the last time you tried to create, who appeared, and what did you hear? Okay. So after you use that prompt, you're gonna write an eviction notice to whoever hinders you. So for me, I feel like my critical voice is always my mom. So I mean, so I'm gonna write an eviction notice to my mom or like to the mom in my head. You guys write an eviction notice to whoever is the person in your head, and then I'll open it up for sharing. Okay. Um, I'll give you guys a few more minutes. Okay. Is there anyone that wants to share? maybe anything that came up for them. Um, if not, I can share. Okay. So the first question was close your eyes and think of the last time that you tried to create, who appeared, and um what did you hear? I said the last time I tried to create was these past 2 days. I wasn't necessarily negative to myself in a way of talking down, but halfway through painting, I did feel as though maybe I used the wrong colors. So I was being hard on myself for not having the right colors. Um, um, and who appeared talking to me was the most critical parts of myself, which come from my parents. Right? Everything circle back to them, I guess. Um, that was a joke. And then my eviction letter was to my mom. So mine was, "Hey mom, I don't like when you talk to me like that. When you criticize instead of listening or trying to understand. Although you may think you might be helping me, it makes me feel like I'm alone or it makes me feel bad about myself." And someone did share that they gave an eviction notice to self-doubt. That's a really good one. I feel like self-doubt can hinder people from doing a lot of things. Um, it I feel like it's a little bit synonymous with self-sabotage because if you doubt yourself, then sometimes you are unable to see when something is for you and then you won't do it and then sabotage. Okay. Um since the book didn't come with prompts for and we did our own, I'm just gonna end a little bit earlier. So we're gonna do our EFT tapping now. So this is my favorite my favorite part. I love EFT tapping. I started doing this EFT tapping practice that I called safe s- safe place tapping. So essentially you want to think of a safe place, excuse me, a safe person and a nurturing person. So again, a safe place, a safe person, and a nurturing person. The safe place doesn't have to be real. Mine is the Gilmore Girl house. That's not real. And the same thing with the safe person and the nurturer. They don't have to be real. They can be like characters from a show, a dragon, a horse, whatever it is that you feel like is safe for you or and a nurturing person for you. And the nurturer and the safe person can also be the same person. But if you choose to use someone from your real life, you don't want it to be someone that you've had um like that you have like mixed emotions about. Otherwise, it won't really work. And this practice you can use whenever you're feeling like overwhelmed. It's really good for grounding. So yeah, I'm gonna give you guys like maybe 2 minutes to think of a safe person, a safe place, and a nurturer, and then just put in the chat ready, and then we'll start with our tapping. Okay. So with tapping, I'm gonna let you guys know the points that we're gonna tap, and then I'm gonna like talk you through it as we're tapping. Um I personally don't necessarily use these to do the tapping, but for the sake of like teaching you guys how tapping works, we're gonna do them. So you start with tapping on this part of your hand, so like the karate chop part, and you just tap here for a few, right? Then you tap there for a few. Then you want to do the forehead, and then under your eye, right here on your bone, and then right here under your other bone, on your chin, on your chest, all right, under your collarbone right here, and then on the other side of your chest, on your collarbone right there. Now I'm gonna talk you guys through it, but just in case if you like feel disoriented as I'm telling you where to tap, you guys know where to tap. So we're gonna close our eyes and we're gonna start with our hand. So you're gonna close your eyes. Imagine you're in the safe place and you're sitting on the couch or on the floor or just standing and you see the safe person next to you. You see the nurturer next to you. And you're just gonna tap on the side of your left hand because you're safe in this house or this garden or this beach, wherever you are. You're safe now. And you're gonna tap on the other side, your right hand. There's a safe person that's there to protect you. And this nurturing person that's there to nurture you. And make sure you're breathing in and breathing out in between taps. Forehead. In this place, I am safe. Under your eye. Next eye, right eye. Chin. Left collarbone. Right collarbone. And if you start to yawn, that's okay. That means your body's telling you that your nervous system is relaxed. Okay. I'm just gonna end it with a cute little sound bowl for you guys. Thank you so much for coming. This is as fun for you guys as it was for me. Okay. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.